Hello, and welcome to Creepy Raindrops. Before you drift off to sleep, let me tell you a story that will help you relax and fall into a deep, peaceful slumber. Sit or lie down comfortably, and let the world around you slowly fade away. Tonight, I will take you on a journey through the woods, where the air is cool and the shadows of the trees stretch long. As you listen, let your mind relax, your body feel heavy, and all the noise in your head gradually fade away before we begin. I'd like to know, which city are you listening to this story from? And what time is it there? Chilling shadows. Real winter horror stories from California. The cold, biting winds of winter in California are not what most people associate with the state's sunny, laid-back image. However, as the days shorten and the mountains are blanketed in snow, a darker side of the Golden State reveals itself, one that is steeped in chilling shadows and eerie tales. California's winter landscape, from the towering peaks of the Sierra Nevada to the ghostly quiet of its remote desert regions, hides countless stories of terror and mystery. California's winters are harsh in some areas, with deep snowfalls, freezing temperatures, and nights that stretch on forever. It's during this time that strange events occur: unexplainable disappearances, ghostly sightings, and the whispers of forgotten horrors. These chilling winter tales are more than just the stuff of folklore. They are real, reported experiences from locals and visitors who have encountered things that defy reason and explanation. The high mountain regions of California, such as the Sierra Nevadas and the San Bernardino Mountains, are home to some of the most terrifying winter horror stories. When the snow falls heavily, these remote areas become isolated, sometimes leaving travelers stranded and vulnerable. The winter roads that wind through the dense forests and up into the craggy mountain ranges are often treacherous and poorly maintained, making even the most experienced adventurers feel uneasy. It is in these rugged terrains that many of California's most spine-chilling horror stories unfold. The mountains, blanketed in snow and pierced by the ever-present wind, seem to hold secrets that have remained hidden for centuries. Perhaps it is the isolation that breeds fear, or the ancient, untold tales of the land. But whatever the reason, California's winter months have been the setting for countless horrifying encounters. One such encounter occurred in the remote town of Idlewild, nestled deep in the San Jacinto Mountains. The town is charming by day, with a quiet atmosphere that invites visitors to relax and enjoy the picturesque winter scenery. But when night falls, the shadows seem to come alive. One local, who had spent many winters in the area, recounted the tale of an eerie encounter while hiking through the woods. As he walked along the snow-covered trail, he began to hear the faint sound of footsteps behind him, matching his pace. At first, he thought it was another hiker, but when he turned around, no one was there. He continued his hike, but the footsteps persisted, growing louder with each step. Panic set in as he realized that something, or someone, was following him, but no one was visible. With his heart pounding, he sprinted down the trail, eventually reaching the safety of the town. To this day, he cannot explain what happened or who, or what was following him through the snow. Another chilling tale comes from the famous and hauntingly beautiful Yosemite National Park, which attracts millions of visitors each year. However, not all visitors leave with fond memories. During the winter months, Yosemite's grandeur is even more impressive, as the massive cliffs and waterfalls are surrounded by snow and ice. But this beauty hides a dark history. Yosemite has long been the site of eerie stories, from ghostly apparitions to strange sounds echoing through the canyon at night. One story that continues to haunt the park's visitors is that of a woman who went missing during a winter hike. Her footprints were found in the snow, leading up to the edge of a cliff, but then they abruptly stopped. No trace of the woman was ever found. Over the years, Hikers have reported seeing her ghostly figure standing at the edge of that very cliff, staring out over the frozen landscape, as if waiting for someone to bring her back. Yosemite is also home to the legend of the vanishing hitchhiker, a well-known urban legend that has its roots in the park. According to the story, a woman dressed in winter clothes is seen hitchhiking along the winding roads of the park during the dead of night. Drivers stop to offer her a ride, and she climbs into the back seat, giving only a vague address. However, after driving for a short while, the driver will glance in the rearview mirror and notice that she is gone, vanished without a trace. The driver is then left wondering if they were part of a supernatural encounter or simply the victim of an elaborate prank. However, the eerie silence that follows is enough to convince many that the woman's ghost still roams the lonely roads of Yosemite, waiting for her next ride. But it's not just the mountains and parks of California that harbor ghostly legends. The state's vast desert regions, particularly those in the eastern part of the state, are home to their own set of terrifying tales. The Anza-Borrego Desert, known for its breathtaking views and stark beauty, is also the site of strange happenings that seem to defy logic. Locals in the area have long spoken of ghost lights, unexplained, flickering lights that appear over the desert at night. These lights have been seen by countless people over the years, yet no one has been able to explain what causes them. Some believe they are the spirits of ancient Native American tribes, while others think they may be the result of some kind of atmospheric phenomenon. But no matter the explanation, those who have witnessed the lights cannot shake the feeling that they are not alone in the vast, empty desert. One of the most unsettling winter horror stories in California comes from the small, isolated town of Joshua Tree, located in the Mojave Desert. The town is famous for its striking desert landscape and its namesake trees, but it is also known for the eerie occurrences that seem to plague the area. One particular winter, a family who had just moved into a house near the outskirts of town experienced a series of terrifying events. Strange sounds echoed through the house at night, and one member of the family swore they saw a shadowy figure standing outside their window, watching them from the darkness. After several restless nights, they decided to leave the house, but not before experiencing the final, most terrifying event of all. As they packed up their belongings, they found an old journal hidden in the attic. The journal detailed the account of the previous occupants, who had reported similar haunting experiences. The last entry, dated just days before the family's departure, read, "The shadows are closing in. They are waiting." California's winter horror stories are not confined to the mountains or deserts. Even the bustling urban areas have their share of dark tales. The city of Los Angeles, known for its vibrant nightlife and sunny weather, has a surprising number of eerie legends tied to the winter months. One of the most chilling stories is that of the haunted Hollywood sign. While it's a famous landmark by day, at night it becomes the setting for strange and unsettling occurrences. One night, a group of hikers who had ventured up to the sign to take in the view of the city were startled by a sudden drop in temperature. As they stood frozen in the cold, they began to hear whispers carried on the wind. When they looked around, they saw the faint outlines of figures moving in the shadows. The hikers, gripped by fear, hurriedly made their way back down the mountain, but the whispers and shadows continued to follow them, even as they reached the city below. While these stories are unsettling, they are just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to California's winter horrors. The state, with its mix of towering mountains, vast deserts, and bustling cities, holds countless chilling tales that are waiting to be uncovered. From ghostly figures in the snow to unexplainable lights in the desert, California's winters offer more than just cold weather. They offer a glimpse into a world where the boundaries between the living and the dead are thin, and the shadows seem to come alive. In the end, it's important to remember that these stories are more than just fiction. They are based on real experiences, the kind of encounters that leave an indelible mark on those who have lived through them. Whether you believe in ghosts, spirits, or the supernatural, one thing is certain. California's winters are not as peaceful as they may seem. As the chill settles in and the shadows grow long, remember to look over your shoulder. You never know what might be lurking just out of sight. Frozen Terror. Unsolved Mysteries of California's Winter Night. California, often known for its sun-kissed beaches and balmy weather, hides a far darker side during the winter months. When the weather takes a frigid turn, and the state's towering mountain ranges are covered in thick blankets of snow, a chilling silence falls over the landscape. The bustling crowds disappear from the streets, replaced by an eerie stillness. As the shadows grow long, California transforms from a sun-drenched paradise to a land steeped in mystery and terror. It is in these quiet winter nights that the state's darkest unsolved mysteries come to life, with chilling events that seem to defy explanation. From the Sierra Nevada mountains to the remote desert expanses, California's winter landscapes have seen their fair share of inexplicable disappearances, strange encounters, and lingering questions. Some of these unsolved mysteries have haunted local communities for decades, while others have been relegated to forgotten corners of history, only to be rediscovered in whispers and faded newspaper clippings. The mysteries that unfold during California's coldest months evoke an unsettling sense of wonder and terror, as people try to piece together what truly happened in these shadowy places. One of the most famous and mysterious disappearances occurred in the winter of 1981, when a young couple, Michael and Sarah, vanished without a trace while driving through the winding mountain roads of the Sierra Nevada. The couple had been on their way to a remote cabin to spend a quiet weekend in the snow, seeking a break from the hustle and bustle of city life. Their car was found abandoned on a snow-covered stretch of road, the engine still running, but there was no sign of the couple. The weather had been brutal that evening, with a snowstorm that made visibility nearly impossible. And yet there were no signs of struggle or forced entry into the car. The authorities launched a search, but despite combing the area for days, no trace of Michael or Sarah was found. The snow had covered their footprints, and the couple seemed to have simply vanished into the white wilderness. Over the years, many have speculated about what might have happened to the couple. Some believe they got out of their car in an attempt to find shelter but succumbed to the freezing temperatures. Others suspect foul play, with the possibility of someone, or something, lurking in the mountains, waiting for its next victim. Despite numerous theories and investigations, the mystery of Michael and Sarah's disappearance remains unsolved. Their story has become a haunting reminder of the dangers lurking in the winter wilderness of California, where the snow hides more than just cold. The Sierra Nevada is not the only region in California where such chilling events unfold. The San Bernardino Mountains, with their towering pines and winding roads, are also home to several unsolved mysteries. In the winter of 2002, a man named James Stevenson disappeared while on a solo hiking trip in the mountains. James had been an experienced hiker, well-versed in winter conditions, and was fully prepared for the trip. Yet, when he failed to return from his hike, his friends and family knew something was terribly wrong. A search was immediately launched, but no trace of James was found. His footprints led to a steep ravine, and it seemed as if he had fallen into it. Yet, when rescuers descended into the ravine, there was no sign of him. The area was thoroughly searched, but James Stevenson's fate remains one of the most enduring mysteries in the region. Despite the extensive search efforts, many who live in the area believe something far more sinister is at play. Some say that strange forces are at work in the San Bernardino Mountains, where the shadows seem to stretch endlessly across the snow-covered peaks. Others point to the history of the area, which is rich with tales of Native American spirits, lost souls, and ancient rites that have been passed down for generations. To this day, hikers in the region report hearing strange sounds, whispers carried on the wind, footsteps behind them in the snow, and the feeling of being watched. Whether these are the remnants of the land's darker past or something more supernatural, the mystery of James Stevenson's disappearance is far from resolved, leaving many to wonder if the mountain itself is to blame. Farther south, in the cold, windswept deserts of California, another chilling mystery has baffled authorities and locals alike for years. In 1995, a family of 4 went missing while traveling through the Anza-Borrego Desert during a rare winter snowstorm. The family had been on a road trip, exploring the vast expanse of the desert, when their vehicle broke down in the middle of the storm. The family's last known communication came from a phone call made by the father, David, to a friend, in which he reported that they were stuck in the snow and would attempt to walk to the nearest town. The call ended abruptly, and no one heard from the family again. When authorities arrived at the scene days later, the car was still there, buried in snow, but there was no sign of the family. The search for the missing family became one of the most extensive in California's history, involving helicopters, dogs, and hundreds of volunteers. Despite the efforts, no trace of the family was ever found. It was as if they had vanished without a trace into the vast, uninhabited desert. There were no footprints in the snow leading away from the car, and no evidence that they had made it to safety. Some theorists believe the family may have been victims of foul play, while others think they could have encountered something far more dangerous in the desolate desert. To this day, the mystery of the missing family remains unsolved. However, locals in the area have whispered about strange phenomena that occur in the desert during winter months. There have been reports of unexplained lights seen in the distance, flickering in the desert night like ghostly beacons. Some believe the lights are the spirits of those who have lost their way in the desert, forever searching for something they can never find. Whether these lights are truly paranormal or simply a trick of the eye, they add to the eerie atmosphere of the desert and leave visitors wondering what lies hidden beneath the sand. The stories of these unsolved mysteries and disappearances are just a small fraction of the chilling tales that have been passed down through California's winter nights. From the cold mountain peaks to the silent desert plains, there are countless stories of people who have vanished without explanation, their fates locked in the frozen grip of time. But what is it that draws so many people to these places, despite the dangers that lurk there? Is it the thrill of adventure, the desire to conquer the wilderness, or something else altogether? Something far darker? One possibility lies in the strange and supernatural forces that seem to inhabit these remote locations. From ghostly apparitions to eerie whispers in the wind, California's winter landscapes are filled with an unsettling sense of the unknown. Some believe that these places are haunted by the spirits of those who perished long ago, their souls forever trapped in the cold, waiting for someone to join them. Others think that there are ancient forces at work, forces that draw people into their grip and never let them go. The unsolved mysteries of California's winter nights may never be fully explained, but they serve as a haunting reminder that the state's beautiful wilderness is not without its dangers. In the end, the terror of these unsolved mysteries lies not just in the fear of the unknown, but in the nagging question that lingers in the minds of those who hear the stories. What really happened to those who vanished in the cold, and what secrets are still buried beneath the snow? California's winter nights are filled with more than just the chill of the air. They are filled with the lingering echoes of terror, the whispers of the lost, and the shadows of a past that refuses to remain silent. The haunted winters of California, true tales of snow and fear. When you think of California, images of golden beaches, palm trees, and sun-kissed landscapes usually come to mind. But beneath the warm glow of the sun lies a different reality, one that emerges when the temperatures drop and the landscape is veiled in winter's icy grasp. California's winters bring with them more than just snow and cold. They bring with them a deep sense of unease, as the state's snowy mountains, remote forests, and abandoned towns hold terrifying stories of hauntings and unexplained phenomena. From ghostly apparitions that roam the snow-covered hills to strange occurrences that defy explanation, the haunted winters of California are steeped in fear, mystery, and a chilling sense of the unknown. As the seasons change and the snow begins to fall on the Sierra Nevada, San Bernardino, and other mountain ranges, the quiet of winter gives way to a sense of eerie isolation. It's during these cold months that the state's haunted history comes to life, with tales of ghostly encounters that have haunted locals and visitors alike for generations. The vast wilderness, now covered in snow, becomes the perfect setting for supernatural events to unfold, with no one around to witness them except the brave few who dare to venture into the unknown. In the small mountain town of Big Bear Lake, there is a story that has been passed down for decades, one that tells of a haunting that occurs every winter when the lake freezes over. The tale begins with a tragic incident that took place many years ago. A young couple, Emma and Thomas, had traveled to Big Bear for a winter getaway, hoping to enjoy the beauty of the snow-covered mountains and the serenity of the frozen lake. But fate had other plans. During a winter evening walk along the lake, the couple was caught in a sudden snowstorm, and in the confusion, Emma slipped and fell through the ice. Thomas desperately tried to pull her out, but the ice cracked beneath him, sending both of them plunging into the freezing waters. Despite the efforts of rescuers, neither Emma nor Thomas were ever found. Their bodies were lost to the icy depths of Big Bear Lake, and their tragic deaths became a part of the town's folklore. However, it is said that every winter, when the lake freezes over, the ghostly figures of Emma and Thomas can be seen walking along the shores, searching for one another. Witnesses claim to see two shadowy figures moving across the ice, their outlines blurred by the mist of the cold air. Some say they hear the sound of muffled cries carried by the wind, as if Emma and Thomas are still calling out to each other, trying to reunite. Whether these apparitions are the lingering spirits of the couple or something else entirely, the haunting presence of Emma and Thomas remains one of Big Bear Lake's most chilling winter tales. Further south, in the San Bernardino Mountains, the historic town of Lake Arrowhead is known for its stunning winter scenery and charming alpine vibe. But beneath the picturesque surface lies a dark history, one that is said to be haunted by the spirits of the past. One of the most well-known ghost stories in the area revolves around a secluded cabin deep in the woods, which has been abandoned for decades. The cabin was once home to a family who lived there during the early 1900s, but after a series of unexplained events, they disappeared without a trace. It is said that the family was plagued by strange noises and unsettling visions long before they vanished. Neighbors reported hearing odd sounds coming from the cabin, knocks on the door when no one was there, footsteps on the floorboards, and the distinct sound of a piano playing late at night. Some claimed to see shadowy figures moving behind the windows, while others swore they heard whispers on the wind, beckoning them closer to the cabin. When the family disappeared, the cabin was left untouched, its windows boarded up and its doors locked. Yet, every winter, strange occurrences continue to be reported by those who pass by the cabin. Locals tell of seeing flickering lights in the windows at night, as if someone is still living there. Others speak of hearing the eerie sound of piano music drifting through the trees, despite the cabin being long abandoned. The spirit of the family, or perhaps something darker, still lingers in the air, and many believe the cabin is cursed. As the winter months roll on, the California wilderness becomes even more desolate and unwelcoming, and it's during these times that the most unsettling stories of hauntings and supernatural phenomena emerge. Deep in the forests of the Sierra Nevada, There is a region known for its strange occurrences, an area that has been the subject of eerie tales for generations. One such story involves a group of hikers who ventured into the woods one winter in search of a hidden waterfall. The hikers, seasoned adventurers, had spent many years in the mountains, but this particular trip would turn into their worst nightmare. As they trekked deeper into the snow-covered forest, they began to feel as though they were being watched. At first, they dismissed the sensation as paranoia, but soon they noticed strange footprints in the snow, footprints that did not belong to any animal they could identify. The prints were human in shape, but they appeared to be moving in strange, erratic patterns, as if the person making them was disoriented or lost. The hikers continued on, but the feeling of being followed grew stronger. The deeper they went, the more they noticed that the forest seemed to close in around them, as if the trees themselves were watching. When they reached the waterfall, they were greeted by an unsettling sight. The area was covered in a thick fog, and in the distance, they saw a figure standing by the water's edge. The figure was cloaked in shadows, and its features were impossible to make out. As they moved closer, the figure suddenly vanished, disappearing into the mist as if it had never been there. Fearing for their safety, the hikers quickly left the area, but they could not shake the feeling that they were being followed. Some say the figure was the ghost of a long-dead prospector who once roamed the mountains, lost and searching for gold. Others believe it is a manifestation of the spirits of the forest, waiting to claim those who wander too far into their domain. The hikers never returned to that part of the Sierra Nevada, and to this day, others who venture into the area report similar experiences, feeling as though something is watching them from the shadows. California's haunted winters are not confined to the mountains alone. The state's vast network of abandoned towns and deserted areas are also home to stories of ghostly encounters and strange happenings. One such place is the ghost town of Bodie, located in the high deserts of California. Bodie was once a thriving mining town, but it was abandoned in the early 1900s after the gold ran out. Today, it stands as a frozen relic of the past, a place where time seems to have stopped. Visitors to Bodie often report strange occurrences, especially during the winter months when the town is covered in snow. The air is still and silent, and the old buildings stand in eerie silence, as if they are waiting for something to happen. Some have reported seeing figures moving in the windows of the old houses, as if the spirits of the town's former residents are still walking the streets. Others have heard strange noises, like footsteps echoing down empty hallways, or the sound of old machinery running in the distance. Many believe that the town is haunted by the restless spirits of the miners who died there, their souls trapped in the cold, desolate town for eternity. One of the most unsettling experiences reported in Bodie occurred to a group of tourists who were visiting the town during the winter. As they explored one of the old buildings, they heard a faint whispering sound coming from the upstairs rooms. At first, they thought it was the wind, but as they climbed the stairs to investigate, the whispering grew louder. They turned a corner and saw a figure standing at the end of the hall, a figure dressed in old-fashioned mining clothes. Before they could approach, the figure vanished, leaving only the sound of creaking floorboards behind. The tourists left the town in a hurry, shaken by the experience, and swore never to return. The haunted winters of California are filled with tales of ghostly encounters, unexplainable events, and mysterious figures that seem to appear out of nowhere. From the cold mountain peaks to the eerie ghost towns, the state's winter landscape is more than just a beautiful sight. It is a place where the past and the present collide, where spirits from another time linger in the cold air, waiting to make their presence known. Whether it's the tragic tale of Emma and Thomas at Big Bear Lake or the mysterious figure in the Sierra Nevada, California's haunted winters are filled with fear and fascination, reminding us that even in the most serene of landscapes, there is always something lurking in the shadows. Snowfall and screams. California's creepiest winter legend, California, with its sun-drenched beaches, thriving cities, and rugged coastline, is a place that often exudes warmth and light. However, there's a darker side to this sunny state, one that emerges during the cold, snowy months of winter. When the temperature drops and the Sierra Nevada mountains are cloaked in a thick blanket of snow, something otherworldly seems to awaken. The stillness of winter in California is often shattered by strange sounds, eerie sightings, and unexplainable events that have become a part of the state's rich tapestry of winter legends. These chilling tales have been passed down through generations, warning travelers and locals alike of the dangers that lurk in the snow and shadows. The most unsettling part about these winter legends is the fact that they are based on real events and places, locations that still stand today, haunted by the lingering memories of the past. Whether it's a ghostly apparition seen on a snow-covered trail or a strange noise that chills the bones, California's creepiest winter legends are not just tales to be told by the campfire. They are rooted in unsettling experiences, real disappearances, and the belief that some spirits simply refuse to rest. From the quiet mountain roads of the Sierra Nevada to the remote cabins in the San Bernardino Mountains, the legends of California's winter nights are filled with snowflakes, screams, and the whisper of something that isn't quite right. One of the most well-known and chilling legends of California's winter is the story of the mysterious disappearance of a young couple in the 1970s. Linda and Greg, both avid winter hikers, decided to spend a weekend in the rugged terrain of the San Gabriel Mountains. The couple had prepared for the hike well, packing supplies and checking the weather forecast. However, as they ventured deeper into the snow-covered forest, the weather began to worsen, with a sudden snowstorm causing a whiteout. They attempted to retrace their steps back to the car, but the storm made navigation nearly impossible. When the storm finally cleared, Linda and Greg's car was found abandoned, its engine still running, but there was no sign of the couple. Their disappearance was puzzling, and a massive search operation was launched. But despite all efforts, no trace of the hikers was ever found. A strange detail emerged during the investigation. A series of footprints led away from the vehicle, but they stopped abruptly in the middle of the snow-covered road. There was no sign of struggle, no footprints continuing into the woods, just an eerie silence. The disappearance of Linda and Greg remains unsolved to this day, and many locals claim that on certain winter nights, the sound of a woman's scream can be heard echoing through the mountains, as if Linda is still calling out for help. Some even say they have seen strange lights flickering in the distance, illuminating the forest, as though the couple is trapped in an endless loop, forever lost in the snow. In the far northern part of California, in the Redwood National and State Parks, there's another unsettling legend that has been passed down by the indigenous tribes who once inhabited the land. The story revolves around an ancient tree, known to the locals as the Whispering Redwood. This towering giant has stood for centuries, its thick trunk and wide branches reaching toward the sky. It is said that the tree has witnessed many tragic events, including the disappearance of a group of settlers during a winter storm in the early 1800s. According to the legend, the settlers had sought refuge under the massive tree when a blizzard swept through the area. As the storm raged on, the settlers huddled together, trying to stay warm, but the cold proved too much. One by one, they succumbed to the freezing temperatures, their bodies lost to the storm. In the years that followed, locals began to report strange occurrences near the tree. Visitors who ventured into the area claimed to hear whispers on the wind, as though the voices of the lost settlers were calling out for help. Some hikers reported seeing shadowy figures moving through the trees, their outlines barely visible in the dense fog. Others claimed to feel an overwhelming sense of dread when standing near the Whispering Redwood, as though something was watching them from the darkness. To this day, the area around the tree remains off-limits to the public, with park rangers warning visitors about the strange occurrences and mysterious sounds that have been reported over the years. Further south, in the Sierra Nevada mountains, lies another area steeped in winter legends. This time, the legend revolves around a remote cabin that has stood for over a century. The cabin was once the home of a hermit named Jacob, who lived alone in the mountains during the late 1800s. It is said that Jacob had come to the mountains seeking solitude, escaping the bustle of the city. However, something sinister took root in the hermit's life. Some locals claim that Jacob was a deeply troubled man, obsessed with dark rituals and the occult. Over the years, he became more reclusive, and rumors spread that he had made a pact with a supernatural entity, trading his soul for power and immortality. During the harsh winter of 1894, Jacob's cabin was found abandoned. No one knew exactly what had happened to him, but a series of disturbing events followed. People in the nearby town began to experience strange visions and unsettling dreams of a tall, shadowy figure, wandering the snow-covered forests, muttering incomprehensible words. A few individuals who ventured near Jacob's cabin reported hearing eerie chanting emanating from the woods, even though no one could be seen. In the years that followed, a number of hikers and travelers disappeared while passing near the cabin, their last known locations often being within a mile of Jacob's old home. Local legends suggest that Jacob's spirit still roams the area, searching for new souls to claim, and that his dark pact has bound him to the land. Many believe that the cold, oppressive atmosphere of the surrounding mountains is a result of the curse he placed upon them. Winter travelers who make their way near the cabin often report feeling a strange sensation of being watched, while others hear faint whispers in the wind, voices that seem to call their names from the distance. The area surrounding the cabin is now avoided by most locals, and few dare to venture too close, especially during the winter months. Not all of California's creepiest winter legends are tied to isolated cabins or long-forgotten tragedies. In the town of Mendocino on the rugged northern coast, there is a legend about a woman known only as the Lady in White. The Lady in White was once a young bride-to-be who had traveled to the coastal town in the late 1800s to marry the love of her life. But fate dealt her a cruel blow when her fiancé was lost at sea during a violent winter storm. The woman, heartbroken and devastated by the loss, wandered the cliffs for days, unable to comprehend the tragedy that had befallen her. One cold winter evening, a group of local fishermen reported seeing a figure in white standing on the edge of the cliffs, staring out at the ocean. When they approached, they found no one, only the haunting sound of waves crashing against the rocks below. Over the years, more reports emerged of a woman in a flowing white gown, standing on the cliffs, her figure glowing faintly in the mist. Some say she is searching for her lost love, still waiting for him to return, while others believe her spirit has been forever bound to the cliffs by the grief of her loss. On stormy winter nights, some locals claim to hear her mournful cries carried by the wind, echoing through the streets of Mendocino, as though she is still waiting year after year for a reunion that will never come. California's winter legends are rich with stories of love lost, spirits trapped in time, and strange forces that continue to haunt the snow-covered landscapes. These tales, some of which are based on true events, others embellished by the passage of time, weave a tapestry of fear and fascination. The winter months in California bring with them not just snow and cold, but an underlying sense of unease, as if something ancient and forgotten is stirring once again. Whether it's the eerie whispers by the whispering redwood, the shadowy figure wandering the Sierra Nevada, or the mournful cries of the Lady in White, the snow and ice of California's winter nights hold more than just beauty. They hold a darkness that is not easily forgotten.